It smelled of rain that afternoon, the kind that lingers on old stones. I was standing there in Greenwood Cemetery, in Brooklyn, in front of Nathan's grave, just staring at the wet dirt. It had been 2 weeks since the accident. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my heart and left a gaping wound behind. I didn't know what I was expecting from being there, but I had nowhere else to go. That's when I saw him, a man in a long, dark coat, standing just far enough away that I didn't notice him at first. He wasn't visiting anyone, just standing, watching. He had this air about him, something unsettling but not dangerous. At least not immediately. He walked over to me, his eyes deep and unreadable. "You loved him, didn't you?" he asked, his voice low and rough. I didn't answer. Didn't need to. "What if I told you there's a way to bring him back?" I laughed. "The first since time Nathan died. There's no bringing him back," I said, wiping my face. "He's dead." He shook his head slowly, a grin creeping across his face. "Not all dead stay dead." The way he said it sent a chill through me. I should have walked away right then, but grief does things to you. He told me about a Kabbalistic ritual, one that could pull a soul from beyond, bring him back. I should have known there was a catch, but I didn't care. I didn't ask enough questions. That night, I did it. I went back to Ethan's grave, the air thick with mist, the cemetery eerily quiet. I followed his instructions: candles, Hebrew prayers, an offering of blood. My blood. I pricked my finger, let it drip onto the earth, and begged. I begged Nathan to come back. I begged God. I begged anyone who would listen. At first, nothing happened. Just the wind, a distant siren, and my own ragged breathing. But then, I heard it. A whisper. It started low, unintelligible, but then clearer. A name. My name. I turned and there he was. Nathan. He was standing at the edge of the cemetery, just beyond the candlelight. My heart nearly exploded. He looked almost like himself. His hair was tousled, his eyes that same warm brown. But something was off. The way he moved, slow, stiff, like a puppet on strings. "Sarah," he said. But his voice wasn't right. It was too deep, too broken. I ran to him, tears streaming down my face. But when I touched him, his skin was cold, like ice. And his smile, it wasn't Nathan's. It was a grin too wide, too sharp. The man in the coat hadn't brought Nathan back. He'd let something else in, something darker, something hungry. The thing that wore my fiancé's face pulled me close, its breath cold against my ear, whispering in a voice that wasn't his. "You summoned me, and I'm never leaving you," I screamed. But no one could hear.